don't take the rook, because then the queen will swim away. Do queens swim? I don't know. We'll tackle that in a future video. Here we go. This is a big one. Make sure you've got extra marshmallows in your hot chocolate. These are the top 10 chess tricks, and I have very carefully selected them because these are actually ones you are going to use. Are there more exotic tricks? Yeah, but these are ones 100% guaranteed you're going to use in your games, and the first one is the pin. In fact, if you play a full chess game, you're probably going to get at least one pin nearly every game. That's when two pieces are lined up on the same line, and the less important piece is in front. So here, if we put our rook on that same line with rook to c1, we have officially pinned the knight. The knight is absolutely not allowed to move, and no matter what black does, we're going to take the knight on the next turn. I can try to move the knight, but ChessKid system will not allow that to happen. You can't put your king in check. I cannot remember the last game I played where I did not make or have at least one pin made against me. Next one, oh, looks like the same one, but all I've done is invert the pieces. A skewer is when the more important piece is in front, not in back. So all I did was switch the king and the knight. It's pretty much the same tactic. When the rook slides over this time, the piece in front does have to move out of the way. The king, of course, more important than the knight. Then we will capture, and hopefully you know how to do the king and rook mate. There you go. Pin and skewer. They're both called line attack in some languages, but we break them up into two different terms in English. Okay, moving on to our third one. Now we have four. This time, the knight strikes back. Ah, like a good Hollywood movie. We're going to make it black's turn, and black's knight can move to the square f3 and fork the king and the rook. And once black captures the rook, that's a winning endgame because, I spy a pawn. Knight and pawn should be able to win. I put that pawn there for a reason, right? You're a pretty good detective. Okay, moving on to number 4. This is called discovered attack or discovered check. Now this happens when you've got a piece on the same line as an enemy piece. Here, it's going to be discovered check because there's a king sitting over there. So we have to move our bishop out of the way. Any bishop move on the entire board would be check. I like to hunt for a black piece that is sitting on a light square because we have a light squared bishop. Obviously that pawn, not very important, and more importantly, not on a light square. So we're gonna go queen hunting, and I actually set up a little bit of a trick, just to keep you on your toes. There are 2 different bishop moves that attack the queen, but only one wins. If you play bishop to g6, oh, so sorry. Even though that is discovered check, and it looks like we're gonna win the queen, black has the miracle move, queen takes rook, saving the queen, saving the rook, saving the game. But luckily, we have a rewind button on YouTube. Bishop to e2, that's winning chicken dining. Just probably should have gone back to the original on that one. Discovered check, and no matter what black does, we're gonna win the queen. Conveniently, the bishop shields the rook from capture. And of course, the queen could block, but no matter, we're still dining on some chicken tonight. Okay, we're gonna move on to trick number 5. This one is called overworked piece. It's pretty simple. If you see an enemy piece doing too many things at once, make it do one of its jobs, and then it will not be able to do its other job. So this rook right now has to do the dishes and finish the homework. No, just kidding, that's kidland. This rook has to guard the knight and guard the bishop, so let's make it do one of its jobs. And the best way is to lead with this move. We just won 3 points. Black will, of course, capture the 3 points back, but now the rook is not doing the dishes anymore. We will capture the bishop. White has won 3 points thanks to that rook being overworked. And here we go. We're on the backside of the top 10. Number 6. This one is a little bit trickier. You're not going to get to use this one that often, but it's very pleasing. It's called interference. That's when you basically get in the way of 2 pieces hanging out. Here, the rook and the queen are guarding each other. And if we take, obviously, black will just take back and, just be a trade. However, our knight can cut the communication. This knight can go to the square f6, and now the rook and the queen are not talking to each other anymore. It's a bit of an Oreo in reverse. No, it's a regular Oreo. We have the 2 black pieces on the outside and the white knight in the middle, and the problem is, if black takes with the pawn, as he would like to do, you can see the rook is not actually guarding the queen. We will take the queen, and white will win the game. And even if black takes with the rook, we don't win quite as much. The communication is still there between the rook and the queen, but we do win a rook for the cost of a knight. And if white plays perfectly, white's got pretty good winning chances here. On to lucky 7. This is another one of those tactics you're not going to get to use that often, but it's very fun when you do. It is called clearance. That is when you have a piece on a square and you need the square more than the piece, so you tell that piece, hey piece, get lost. Here, our knight wants to capture our own pawn to fork the king and the queen. That is not possible. That is against the rules of chess, but we can push our pawn, clearing out the square. Now, sometimes you clear out an entire line. Here, we're just clearing out a square. If the king takes, it's very much against the rules. The rook is waiting. If the queen takes, black, of course, loses the queen. Black wants to take with the knight, but now the d4 square is clearly empty. Knight to d4, and when the king moves, we win the queen, we win the game. That's a fun one if you ever get to play it. Here we go to the snowman. Number 8. This one is called deflection or decoy. We use these two words very similarly, and it even has some similarities to overworked piece. In this position, we want to play queen takes queen, but the king is waiting for us, so we need to decoy or deflect the king away from the protection of the queen. So we sacrifice our bishop, and black only has one legal move. The king has to take, but we have successfully diverted, deflected, decoyed the king away. We win the queen for only the cost of a bishop. That is a pretty good deal. The number 9 tactic. This one's a little tricky. This one's called in-between move. That's when you've got something you want to do, but you take time out to do something else first and you come back to your original idea. And that in-between move is very hard to see. In this position, the queens are lined up. So we're going to start out with, you could call it a discovered attack. Remember that earlier in the video? We are discover attacking the queen. Now the queen has really nothing better to do than to take our queen. If our knight gets captured, we take black's queen and we're pretty happy. So black's going to take our queen. Now, instead of just capturing the queen back, let's do something awesome with the knight first. Our knight can capture a whole bunch of things, but the best thing to do is to capture something for free, and it better be with check. Don't take the rook, because then the queen will swim away. Do queens swim? I don't know. We'll tackle that in a future video. We should take the bishop because it is free, it is with check, and then when the king moves, then we capture the queen, and we've actually won a bonus bishop. And if you're a superstar, you'll even see a way to get the knight out of there. But we don't have time for that. What we do have time for is our 10th and final tactic. I had to throw in at least one checkmate. We haven't seen any mates so far. We've only seen ways to win material. This one, unfortunately, I lost to twice in my very first state championship. So let my loss be your gain. This is called back rank mate. And this happens when the enemy king is either castled and then the rook leaves the king's side, or in this particular case, the king is not even castled. Now, black was actually okay in this position, but black, a former world top 10 player, played this move, knight to d5. Okay, looks reasonable, but it's not, because Judith Olgar, the best female player of all time, spotted the, well, completely crushing rook to c8. Now, you're throwing tomatoes at your screen. FunMasterMike, this can't be the end of the video. You have messed up. You need to re-record. That is not mate. It's not a back rank mate, because the knight can take. Oh, well, that's true. But if the knight takes, you know what we've done? We've deflected. Yeah, you have to sometimes combine tactics. We've deflected or decoyed that knight away. That would open the path for Judith's queen to deliver her own back rank mate. Now it's official. The checkmate sign appears. I think you'll agree. It's a good time to end the video. I hope you get to use all 10 of these tactics at some point in your career. I think if you play chess long enough, it's almost a certainty.